Hi there, it's Jason here, Funnel Jedi. I get asked a lot about how to build action funnels and using some of the Actionetics features. So um, I did this training. Actually, I was just training somebody on how to do it. His name's Anton, good friend of mine, client, associate, business partner, and he allowed me to record the entire training session from beginning to end, and I'm making it available to you to go through. It's all step by step, so it's really, really straightforward, really simple. We build out what you see here on the screen. But I'm actually going to show you that how I build out the blueprint as well, bit by bit, so that it's not too confusing. I hope you enjoy it. All right. So I'm just going to show you how Actionetics works in Clickfunnels, and I've got a very simple initial. This isn't quite built out yet, but I'm just showing you have a landing page which is going to collect the name and email address and add people to a couple of lists. At the moment, it's just got one list, and we're going to call that the master list, right? And that master list, so no matter whether anybody buys something or not, I like adding them onto a master list. So I've got them there, because in Actionetics, it's different. If I want to do a broadcast later, what you'll find is that over time, you're going to create more and more lists, more opt-in pages, and you have all of these different lists. And when you want to send out a broadcast to everybody in ClickFunnels, in your ClickFunnels account, they're not all going to be in one list. They're all going to be in these 6, 10 lists, or whatever it is. And of course, when you click on broadcast, you can, say, right, you can, for one broadcast, you can click on all the lists, and you have to do them all but one by one. It becomes a bit tedious having to do that, right? So what I like doing is setting up a master list. At least I've got it, and I can always, if I want to do manual broadcast later, it'll make sense later when I show you. But if I want to send out to a very specific list, I can still do that. But if I want to send that to everybody, then want to send that to everybody, then I can just use the master list. Sorry, just get this sorted out here. Right. So then go to the master list, and everybody in the master list, for example, maybe gets this Seinfeld sequence, series of emails which are really about nothing. They're just keeping in touch and keeping your list warm, right?
Yeah.
And anybody who decides they're not your kind of person anymore, you're not their kind of person, they'll unsubscribe. So it's a good way of keeping your list relevant. So we've got a landing page, and then we might have, I don't know if I can copy it like this. There we go. Then we might have an order page. And there'll be other pages in the funnel, but for the purposes of understanding how Actionetics works, the most important things more or less are having a landing page and an order page. And what we're going to have is, with the order page, there's a few different ways of getting people into product lists and whatever. But we're going to have this order page, which will have, let's use, what color have I not used yet? Let's use the products, we'll use green. Okay. So we use product, that's product 1, and product 2. Okay?
Okay.
Grab the arrow, a couple of copies of that. I'm going to do this. Just going to insert a few lines in here. Bit of space. Didn't do that. So they might buy product 1 or product 2, or indeed both, depending on how you set up the order form. And then you might want to, what I like doing is that each product I want to add each product to a list, I mean its own list.
Mm-hmm.
But I also want to add, whether you've bought product 1 or product 2, I want to add people to a buyer list, right? People have bought something from you. Doesn't matter
Yes.
what. Everybody goes onto that list. So blue, so the blue is a list, orange is an action funnel, green is product, and yellow is pages. Okay, for funnel steps.
Okay.
So everybody goes to the buyer list. There's a couple of different ways of doing this. Visually, this is probably not the best way, but I could. No, I didn't. Oops. I'm going to put this over here. So everyone goes to that buyer list. I could probably use better arrows. I'll fix them later, perhaps. So everyone goes to product buyer list.
Yeah.
But you'll also send the product 1 people to the product. Product 1 buyer list, right?
Yeah.
And everyone product 2. So we don't know, we can't tell what we're going to do in the future. So I like to get this done at the outset, and then even if I don't have email sequences necessarily set up for all of these things, at least I've already prepared my system to capture the data and it's there, right?
Exactly.
And then of course, you know what, to make my life a little bit easier, I'm going to move this down a little bit more. I'm probably going to end up using more arrows. And I may or may not have an action funnel for the general buyer list. Buyer. This is like your customer. This is like just your general customer keep in touch sequence.
Yeah.
Right. It's not about these specific products. It's just like, hey, you know, you might give them special offers and things like this.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So news, offer, this is just some. There's no particular order to this. I'm just giving you ideas. So one might be a news article, one might be a special offer, one might be just saying Merry Christmas. Right? It's just kind of keeping in touch.
Yeah.
Yeah. Message from CEO, things like this, right? Just like show that you love. The purpose of that sequence is to show that you love your customers.
Yes.
Right. And then, of course, your product list will have their own. Your products will have their own sequence.
They will have their own email sequence then.
They may or may not. It just depends on what.
Depends on. Yeah.
Why do you do that? Because you don't want them to return it to you and ask for a refund. So, call this the product. And I tend to use the same name for the action funnel as for the list, so that I know which, I know which ones they're meant to be connected to. Buyers, brought to buyers, and then we're going to have the same thing for product one.
Perfect.
That kind of makes sense. Some sense.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
I'll just move it a bit closer. Oops. Alrighty. And then what I might do is, and I'm just saying, I'm not saying it's only 3 emails, but it's just meant to illustrate that you've got a sequence.
Well, exactly.
Right? So
I mean, I suppose you can set up as many sequences as you want.
Yeah, it's just
as many emails as you want.
This is purely just so we can visualize in our head what kind of strategies, keep in touch strategies we want, right? And how we want to just generally manage our customer relationships. Okay, sorry, I'm changing my mind.
No worries.
All right. I want to put a box around this as well, so that we don't get confused about as to what thing is relating to what. Okay, oops. There we go.
Yeah.
So, good. And then we just need a couple of arrows for the sake of completeness. We want that one there. And that one go to there, right? And so now you can visualize what we. Maybe I don't need all of these. Just to keep keep consistent. We just have 3 emails.
Exactly.
There you go. All right. There we go. So we've got a master list where we just send prospects. If there's prospects and customers, they get that. But I might put some additional actions in as well. So what we might do is, like, if we have a buyer, we can have somebody's on this in this list. In fact, what I would do, I probably wouldn't do this. I'd probably have a master list, and then I would have, its own. I'd have, this is the nurture list. So I would actually add them to the master list and the nurture list separately. It's nurture list that is attached to this action funnel, not the master list. Master list isn't attached to any funnels, any action funnels or campaigns, right?
Yeah.
It's purely add them to the master list, and by the way, also add them to the nurture list. So I don't know how you can do that. You can have a free-form squiggle. You can't do it. That's weird. Right, we're kind of fixed to that that shape, which is a bit weird. Sorry, I haven't used this one before, so I'm just trying to figure out how we do it. But the idea is basically they get added to a master list. Maybe a good way of doing that would be to put this down here and send them to the nurture list. and they get added to the master list automatically. All
Yeah.
right.
Okay.
And this is useful for broadcasts. Broadcasts are one-off messages that you send out.
Yeah.
All right. These ones are all pre-programmed auto-response messages. Right. I'm going to use terminology. This isn't ClickFunnels terminology, but I'll use it because most people are familiar with that.
Most people understand it. Yeah.
Most people understand that. Okay. But as I said, it's more than an autoresponder because we can get it to do other things. For example, if somebody's on this nurture sequence, we might want to take them out of that nurture sequence if they become a buyer.
Yeah.
Right. In which case we might have as the first action in the funnel, in the action funnel, remove from nurture list. Okay.
Uh-huh.
So that might be our first one. Merge cells. That text. So as soon as they go, we should probably move these across a little bit, like this. Right. It's probably why you shouldn't use Excel, but it's anyway.
Excel can be a bit tedious sometimes, but it's good.
It's good for this example, right? So that's the action funnel name list. Right, blue is list, or orange, pink, whatever that is. Salmon pink is action funnel. Okay.
Yeah, cool.
That's the autoresponder. So we can have remove from nurture list. So we say, well, we don't want them to get, if they bought something, they're going to be getting the emails from the buyer, from the buyer, from the actual individual product list. They're going to be getting this general customer nurture list and this general customer follow-up list. And we're going to give them nurture as well. Ooh, that's probably a bit too much, right? So that's where maybe remove them from this list. So they're really going to get that one and this one, or that one and this one. All right. So now we know what we're doing, right? Strategically, we know what we're doing. We've got a landing page that sends them to a nurture list, and it also maybe sends them a free thing. Maybe they've opted in for a free lead magnet.
Yes.
Okay, so it might be. It might just, they might get a lead magnet, but you don't necessarily do that in an action funnel. You can do that in, you just send it to them, or you can program it in the page. So should we go and build this out in Actionetics now?
Yeah.
All right, cool. So here we are. Let's build up a new theoretical funnel here. Browse funnels. And for the sake of simplicity, I'm not going to design anything. I'm literally just going to pick a traditional, I'm not sure what happened there. Try again. Add me. There we go. Right. I'm just going to use a classic. I'll probably use a classic. I'm not even going to use any of this stuff. I'm just going to use a classic builder. I'm going to do all DIY. So we will do, we'll do sell your product here then, choose sales funnel, Actionetics demo, build funnel. It's got the email landing page, it's got sales page, and order confirmation. It's got an order page as well. All right. So just so that it's coherent with our plan.
So the funnel that you actually chose, that's all set up for Actionetics and everything.
No, nothing set up. There's
what I mean is the pages that you basically have that is enable us to basically now go out and set it up.
Yeah, it's just really just a selection of 5 pages, but I could just as easily I could just as easily could have clicked on build custom funnel.
Okay, no worries. Yeah, I understand. Yeah. You've answered my question, buddy.
Yeah, there we go. So if I click on OK, I've deleted that squeeze page, order confirmation page, thank you page, whatever. This is fine. So we'll have a squeeze page of some sort, really doesn't matter what. We will pick this one. We're going to have an order page, as we know. And let's pick this one. Right. Little bit of admin to do here, which is, we don't like these long URLs and stuff like that. And page, fib, pg, blah 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 blah. So remember that. Now we're at the first step in the funnel. There are in a way 3 URLs for the first step in the funnel.
Okay.
The one that you send people to is the top of which is this one here, copy URL to clipboard, and that one you define that's not this URL. Okay, just so you know, that URL is defined in settings.
Okay.
These are the funnel step URL, but the actual funnel URL, like the top of the funnel, is set in here. So remember, I called it Actionetics demo. So actually, automatically, it's demo. So let's call it my amazing product. But one thing that Russell uses a lot is /go, right? So you might use go, and because you might want to use this genuinely for a funnel later on, I won't use go because it's quite a nice /. I'm just going to call it go demo, right? But in reality, we would just, in a real situation, we'll just use go. Okay.
Okay.
Go demo. We'll select a domain. So let's click Business Builder System.
Cool.
For example, with this, save and update settings. So that, notice this hasn't changed. The domain has changed, but the path is still the same as before. So we want to change that one to something less stupid than a squeeze page. So at the funnel step level, we can call that Go Demo FS, the funnel step. A little trick I picked up from Jennifer Goodwin. Go Demo Funnel Step. There's good reasons for all of this. Go Demo Funnel Step, and then again, and then the actual page variation, because you can have more than one, is we're going to change that to Go Demo V1 variation 1. Again, that's thanks to Jennifer Goodwin for that sort of little bit good best practice there. So, and the reason people say, well, I don't understand, why do I have this thing here and this thing here? Why do I have like 3 URLs for the same thing? Is because when we send traffic to the top of the funnel, and the funnel says, okay, well, what's the first step? Well, it's this one. What's the URL for this funnel step? It's this one. And because we can have more than one variation, each of the variations has to have their own independent URL.
Yeah.
Right. So I want to be careful when you. What ends up happening? Funnel stats can get messed up because people will get this URL. So if I copy that link address and I put it in here, right? Just watch what happens. That's not what I want to do. I don't think. Copy to clipboard. Right. See, that's just go-demo. Just watch very carefully. Don't worry about what you see on the screen here. Just watch the URL bar. You might be too quick, but if it's slow enough, you might see it go demo FS, go demo V1 really quickly.
Okay.
Right. So you didn't see the FS actually. Went straight to.
But it went straight to the V1. Yeah.
Right. So, and what often people will do, so like you might get your ads company to send traffic, and you send them a URL, and then they type in the top of the funnel step or something like that, and then they forget, and then they go and cut and paste from here, and they put that in the Facebook ad. And what they end up doing is they're actually driving traffic directly to that variation, which you may not want them to do. You want them to drive the traffic either to the funnel step or to the funnel URL, because you want it to split so you can do the testing, right? So
is the funnel URL businessbuildersystem.com/go-demo-v1?
The funnel, at the funnel level, it's just go-demo.
Oh, okay, yeah.
That then filters down to go-demo-fs. It goes down to go-demo-v1. All right. So whenever you're, so make sure that when you're telling your people, your affiliates, your friends, whatever, that you're going to give URLs to, don't go into your browser and grab the one at the top, right?
Yeah.
Because that's the variation level URL.
Yeah.
Right. But if you're only ever going to have one variation, then that's fine. It doesn't matter. Right.
Yeah.
If you're thinking of doing split testing and you keep on giving people the V1, your stats will be completely redundant, because you're getting traffic from 500 different sources to this one variation. Right. So you might end later on looking, this variation seems to be doing really, really well. Well, of course it's doing really, really well, because that's the URL that you've been giving everybody. Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
So make sure that you give people this one, unless you intentionally want them to only send traffic to this particular variation.
Okay.
So there we got that. Now let's go back to our plan and see what lists we have to set up. We have to set up a master list, a nurture list, a general buyer list, a product 1 buyer list, and a product 2 buyer list. Okay?
Yeah.
We need to set up all those lists. So we go to Actionetics and go to email lists. And do add new list. We have a master email list demo. I'm going to put demo so you don't confuse it.
Yeah.
We've got some live funnels going on in this account. And we're going to call this Actionetics training. Okay. I'm setting up a group so we have all the lists in one group.
Okay.
This can be a static list, not a smart list. Create new list. We're going to set up another list. Add new list. We have the nurture list, demo, Actionetics training. Add another list, which was the master. The buyer list, demo. Then we've got the 2 products, right?
Yeah.
All right. Now we also have, is your SMTP server set up in here?
No, not yet.
Okay, so we need to set that. We actually need to set that up. Otherwise, I don't think we can actually build any of the action funnels out.
Probably not. That was one of the things that we said we want to that we need to set up.
Yeah, so we'll probably need to do that. So let me see. Let me go back to Actionetics. Now we need to set up the action funnels themselves. I'm not going to put the steps in them. I'm just going to set up the funnels. So we have the nurture Seinfeld action funnel. So nurture, demo, and we're going to assign that. This is where you link them up, right? So every time you add something to this list, I want them to go through this action funnel.
Okay.
Right. So this is how you tell Clickfunnels how to do it. You create the new action funnel, and then it asks you what list you want it associated with. Well, I want it to be associated with that one, the nurture list.
Okay.
It's asking for the SMTP settings, which you don't have right now. But you create action funnel, and that action funnel is now ready for us to build the different steps in. Let's do the other action funnel. We can do master. Is there a master? No, that's it. Nurture, buyer. So buyer, demo, all buyers, demo, right? And we call it Actionetics training. That just reminds us this is really just a phony, action funnel, buyer list. Another action funnel here. Product 1. So what do we call it? Product. I can't remember what we call it now, but product
1 buyers list.
Product 1 buyer list. Buyers. Demo. And finally, is the last action funnel. The action funnel got 2 buyers. Action. Okay.
Perfect.
There we go. So now, if I go back into Actionetics, let's have a look at what we've done. We've got our email list, master email list, nurture list, buyer list, product 1 buyer list, and product 2 buyer. See, I've forgotten to group it. So I'm going to go into here and edit. Edit name, group tag, Actionetics training, update the list. And now we should find they're all together now. Product 1, buyer list, product 2.
Perfect.
Okay, so we've got all our lists here. Now I want to tell you something about the statistics here. When you're doing your testing and stuff like that, a lot of people freak out when they're doing the action when they're doing their testing. They say, "I just opted in, but it's saying that there's nobody added to the list." Or what I found is the stats here take a long time to update.
Okay.
Okay. So what you'll find is once you've opted in, if you actually click into the list, you'll see that it's got subscribers, sends on subscribers here. Now this updates in real time and instantaneously.
Okay.
And context will be here. But if you look at the summary here, don't rely on this summary for being accurate.
Okay.
When you've literally just made it live, you've literally only just opted in. So ignore this, click into the actual list and have a look, and then you'll see. All right.
Okay.
So we've created all the lists, we've created all the action funnels. Okay. Now let's go back to the funnel itself. So we've not added the actual emails and things like that, but we do need to set up some integrations. Okay, so let's go back to Actionetics demo. Now there are like 2 or 3 different places, particularly on an order page, where you can add people for getting. We've got to get people onto the list. Now, how do we do that technologically? What's the back end process? How do we tell Clickfunnels to add someone to the nurture list and the master list? Right.
Yeah.
So there's a couple of ways of doing that. Number 1, you've got automations here.
Okay.
This is not an Actionetics function actually. This is before Actionetics even existed. This is how you got Clickfunnels to do things and send messages out.
Okay.
So you can do an automation. You can say everyone, add everybody who hits this squeeze page, add new action, add to master email list, right? Add to master email list. But everybody, you can't do anything other than everybody. What kind of integration is Clickfunnels? Add to list. And we're going to put them to the master email list. All right, create funnel action. We can now, but we also want to add people to the nurture list, right? Remember, because we've got the master list.
Yeah.
We want to add them to the nurture list as well. Now we can do this in two ways. I would put the master list here. Now the nurture list you can either add here as well, or you can do it inside of the page itself, right? So I can either do it, add new action here. So I'm going to show you both ways anyway. Add to nurture sequence. Or I can do it in the page itself, in the integration. So if I go to edit page, go into the editor. That look a bit nicer. You see my screen okay, right?
Yeah.
All right, so if I go to settings, integrations, it comes up here, says autoresponder is not connected. I can select integration and I will do Actionetics, select an integration, add to list, select a list, nurture list. Now obviously you don't need to do both. You don't need to do this, for the nurture list, you don't need to do it here and in automations. I just showed you both so you know how to do it both ways. Because sometimes you want multiple things. You might want to add something to a MailChimp list, which you can only do in here. And sometimes you'll want to add them into an Actionetics list as well. So if I was adding them to MailChimp, I would click on MailChimp, add to list, and then add to build a business system. Right?
Yeah.
And then decide if you want to send them a confirmation email or not. Don't, right? Because you can only add to autoresponders here in the page integrations. Which if you want to add them to the master list or the nurture list in Actionetics, you'd have to do it in automations. Because when you set up one.
Okay.
So
what would you say is the best way to do that? Do it through automation?
What? To do what?
To set up, send it to the nurture list, would you say do it through automation or do it on the page?
For the nurture list, I would do it on the page here.
Okay.
Because you're doing most of your editing here and you'll end up sort of...
Exactly, yeah, exactly.
Like
so the master list we set up through the automation.
Yeah.
And then your nurture list we set up from the page itself. Okay, right. Brilliant.
Exactly, brilliant. So when I click on save, it's now, oh, hang on a second, your SEO metadata isn't right yet. So like free advice, free reports on making lots of money. And what I do just on the SEO, this is not what this lesson is about, but for SEO metadata, I normally grab whatever the headline is here, and I paste that into the SEO metadata. That's just a personal thing.
Okay.
Money making business, blah blah blah, and so on. All right, so save. All right, so that page is actually set up. So anybody landing on this page is going to get added to both the master list, because we set that up,
and the nurture list.
And the nurture list.
Perfect.
Right. So because I know I've added them to nurture sequence in the funnel step, I'm just going to delete this one here.
Okay, cool. Would you recommend, it doesn't matter, like if you set up different kinds of funnels, would you basically say that it's always a good idea to have a master list to send everybody that signs up on any of your funnels, send them to the master list and then send them actually to the action that the funnel is actually going to want you to take?
I do that because the reason why I was saying that is because if I want to do a broadcast now, right, and if you're going
to send it to everybody on your list at the same time.
Yeah, because if I want to do a broadcast, I can't do it because we don't have your Smtp set up right now, so we're going to have to do that in a minute. But basically, if I want to send a broadcast out and I want to send to all my different lists, I can do it. But I have to select them all individually. But if I know that I want to send it to everybody, then it's nice to just have a master list or something.
Yeah. It's good for something like Christmas, and to send everybody on your list of Christmas.
Yeah, exactly. For all my special offers, for all of the Christmas, Christmas things like that. Yeah, for sure. Right. So let's go back into the funnel because we've still got a few more integrations to do. All right. So we've integrated that one and that one. All the lists are connected to each of their respective action funnels. We've done that already.
Yeah.
Now let's go to the order page because we've got a couple of products to set up, and we need to add those people to the buyer lists. Where's it gone? Sorry. There we go. Right. So let's go here. Do you have Stripe set up in here?
No.
You sure? I think you probably do. Yeah, you do. There we go.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So at least we can do that.
We've set up. I've set up a Stripe account before, didn't I?
Yeah.
I need to go into Stripe to figure out what's.
You may want to set up a separate one for the new company. So here we go. So here we're in we're in the order form. So let's again do some housekeeping because we don't want this order form 1YLH.
No, we don't.
Not that anyone sees it. Ultimately, they end up seeing the variation level.
Yeah.
And I'm going to call it order form demo FS. I'm going to copy that.
Cool.
And I'm going to go to the variation level and call that order form demo B1. Right. So have you noticed that we've got an additional tab here?
Yeah.
Right, called products. So because it's an order form, so we can set up our products here. I'm going to add product. We're going to call this one product one. How are we going to bill people with Stripe? We're going to say it's $49, a one-time payment. And add product to Stripe. We're going to call that $97, one-time payment. Okay, so we've got our products here. So how do we get people onto the master buyer list, right? So again, what I would do here is I would use an automation for that. In the same way you did it kind of like for the master list.
Yeah.
In the squeeze page, in the opt-in page, the master type stuff I tend to like doing here, right? Like the master purchase, because in automations you can't. Again, this automation section was built before Actionetics existed, so there was no lists to add people to. So there is no function of adding people to individual lists within.
Yeah.
Well, there wasn't. Let's put it that way. There wasn't at the time. So anyway, we're going to call this add to master buyer list. Everyone who purchased.
Yeah.
Everyone who purchased. So my point is, we can't add them to purchased product 1 or purchased product 2. We can only say you can only purchase something on this page.
Yes.
That's all you can do within automations. So add to list, buyer list, create funnel action, right? We may also want to add a new email, which we can't do because your Smtp setting not set up. But there's a way of sending yourself an email. So what we'll do after we've done all of this, we'll go back and we'll do a separate little training on adding the Smtp server.
Okay, cool.
Okay, so because that can be a separate video as well, which I think people will find helpful. So so we've added them to that. Actually, while we're still in automation, I want to do some other things. So remember if you guys have got Actionetics and you weren't at Funnel Hacking Live 2017, you won't know that there's a secret thing called imallin.com, that when you click on that, you get 15 action funnels given to you.
Hey, this is Russell again, and thank you.
Okay, so if I click on this now, and you've already done this, it doesn't cause any problems by clicking on it. Again, congratulations, you're all in. Whereas it checks whether or not your Clickfunnels account is an upgraded account. If it isn't, it will prompt you to upgrade it to a full Etison Suite account. If it is, then it will simply go straight to this page saying congratulations, you're all in. And you can click on each of these links and you get pre-webinar email sequences, soap opera sequences, ask campaigns, all of these different sequences, cart abandonment sequences. You just click on them and then they instantly import into your Clickfunnels account. So I thought I'd mention that because, sorry. So what we want to do here is add another action, because I know you've already imported these into your account. We're going to say saw order page but didn't buy. So everyone who saw the page but didn't purchase, add to list. So we actually don't have a list for that yet. So let's go add a list. We don't have a cart abandonment list, email list, cart abandonment list demo, right? Actionetics training, create new list. And just for the sake of doing a demo, because we already have it, but we want the cart abandonment, can you spell it right? Abandonment. We need obviously the action funnel to go along with that.
Yeah.
So let's go back to the I'm all in page, find cart abandonment, click on that, and this is what it looks like when you're importing an action funnel which has already been built for you. Cart abandonment sequence, you see it's now being processed, it's been added to the account, which will take a minute. There we go. View funnel. It's not view funnel, actually you should say view action funnel. And I'm just going to call this demo, rename it. So because there's two in the account, I want to make sure we're using the right one. So go back to email lists. Actually, sorry, we did want that. Let's go down there. So this is the action funnel. We want to now associate that with our cart abandonment list. There we go, cart abandonment list. Boom, update action funnel. So you've already got all of the, let me just go back in there. In the cart abandonment sequence demo, you've got 5 steps already. You've got incomplete order, and like what happened, and 24-hour notice saying there must have been a mistake. And Russell has kindly written out all of this for you. All of the emails for you.
That's amazing.
Final notice. And then you can even send out SMSs from inside of Clickfunnels. A lot of people don't know that. But you can set it up so it sends out an SMS message. If you've collected, of course, the mobile number.
Yeah.
And then add to my Seinfeld list, which is obviously our, that's our nurture sequence, remember?
Yes.
Which they're already in there, but I can go to here. We may have taken them out at some point, but we can go to add back into Actionetics, add to list, nurture list. Okay?
Amazing.
So that's that. And when we're ready, we're going to click on, we have to make all of these funnel steps live by going to clicks on pause. And you go live. You can't make it live yet because you don't have a Smtp set up.
Yeah.
There's a little thing that you click on and it'll make all of these live. Right. So let's go back to the, now we've got all of that. Let's go back to the funnel. Go back to order form. So we've set up our products, our automations. We want to do our cart abandonment list, sending people to the cart abandonment if they didn't buy. Now that we've got that set up, add to cart abandonment list. Everyone who saw the page but didn't buy. Add to list, cart abandonment list. All right. So anyone who doesn't buy, they will go there. And of course, you could have enough, if you want to really get detailed, you could have like everyone, so like it doesn't matter whether they bought or not, you want to add them to warm list, right? So they clearly were interested enough, but because they've opted in,
Yeah.
They're kind of warm.
Just put warm list, but just put demo next to it so we know it's associated with it.
Yeah.
There you go.
Create new list. Because you know that they've opted in, so you might want to follow up and do yet another action funnel, you know.
Yeah.
But I probably wouldn't attach an action funnel to this. I would just have that as like, oh, it's good to know who the warm people are.
Yeah.
More probably for broadcasts than anything else, right?
Absolutely.
So if you really want to segment and like really, you know, track everybody. So let's go back into the funnel. Order form. Right, so now what do we have left to do? We have to add people to the individual product lists.
Yes.
Right? So that's you doing products. So I'm going to go back to the products, which I made very, very quickly earlier. Product 1 and product 2. And what you'll notice, whenever you set up a product, right, so I set that product up earlier, there are actually 4 tabs up here. One is fulfillment email. So this is the email that you send out, or Clickfunnels sends out on your behalf when a purchase is made. So you can customize that. So you can either have a purchase email being sent out from here, or you can have it sent out from your action funnel when you add them to the list.
Okay.
If you don't want Clickfunnels to send an email out from here, then what you do is you delete the subject line, and then Clickfunnels knows not to send this out.
Ah, okay.
Because you'd be wondering, is there a button somewhere that you press to like not send this out? No, there isn't. But the way you do it is you delete the subject line, and Clickfunnels knows that it's not going to send it out. You need to associate this product with a particular thank you page, which is going to be this thank you page here, which we actually haven't set up yet.
Okay.
So we're going to probably have to come back to that in a minute, because there isn't one. But that's where you send people to afterwards, and that's what appears on the confirmation page. So we'll worry about this a bit later. Email integration, selected integration, Actionetics. So this is like, we want to send, you know, do we want to integrate this to an autoresponder sequence? Yes, we do. It's in Actionetics, and it's add to list, and we go to product 1. Right? Update product. Now we do the same thing for the product 2. We say, well, we've got our own action funnel for this, so we're not going to send out that email. Email integration, Actionetics, add to list, product 2. Make sense so far?
Absolutely. Amazing.
Yeah? Super simple?
Absolutely.
So what we've really set up here is really all of the connections, right? All of the, like, connecting this to this and this to this and everything else. What we haven't done, of course, is set up the actual emails.
Yeah, set up the sequencing, yeah.
Set up the sequencing. So, and what we might want to do is I'm going to quickly just create these order confirmation thank you pages. Just select something. Order confirmation page, doesn't matter, we'll use the standard one, so that we have live funnel steps. Get the thank you page. And you can call that thank you page there. Use this one. All right. Let's just go back to order form. Products. Fulfillment email, and then it should hopefully, there you go, it's appeared now, actually, to the thank you page. Update product. If you've got different products, you're going to probably have two separate thank you pages. So we're going to call this, just for the sake of, so we can keep track of things, thank you page, product 1 demo. I'm not going to bother changing the paths now because we get it. You understand the principle by now.
Yes, yes.
Clone the funnel step down here. Go a second thank you page. In fact, when you add products, Actionetics in fact creates the product thank you pages here for you. In fact, I can delete that. In fact, so I can go. I'll select that one. I'm going to delete this one in fact now. And I'll go to here. Product 2 thank you page. Oh, I could have added that to the funnel. Select that one. I need to add them to the funnel because this is in the kind of like a holding area, so they're not live.
Okay.
Add to funnel. It's added there, and I get the other one. Add to funnel. We've got 2 product thank you pages there. All right, so let me just go back into products. Now we can tell Actionetics where to send people to if they want to see details about the product. Edit. Fulfillment email. They're not being sent the email, but this is where you tell Clickfunnels to send people to on the confirmation page. Product 1 thank you page. Update product. Go to product number 2. Product 2 thank you page. Update product. So we're pretty well almost done, right? So action funnels. So so all we want to do is like, how do we set up a new email? Now, the SMTP settings aren't set up. So let's see if we add the first step, send email 1. Yeah, it is letting us do it, but it won't let us go live until we actually.
Absolutely, I can understand.
Add our SMTP server. So there's a few things to know about. So now we're setting up an email 1. Now, this is the product 1 buyers list. Now, what we might actually want to do, instead of sending out an email, or at the same time sending an email, we might want to say, well, actually, we want to take them off of the nurture list. Remember, we said,
yes,
we said remove from nurture list. We can do that here, or we can do that in here. Right. So, we'll do that in the master buy. We won't do that here because let's just keep it exactly as we planned it, as opposed to here.
Yeah.
So I'm going to get rid of that. So here we are, email 1. We need to set an email subject line, of course, which will give. Well, first of all, we can change the name of this. So congratulations, email. I read somewhere, I can't remember who was saying it. It's like, don't thank people for their order, congratulate them on their order.
Yeah, absolutely.
I can't remember who said that. Settings. So I think because we don't, I think I can't set any of that because.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, let's.
Don't worry about that.
You've got all of these templates for the emails, and I'm going to select this basic one here, top left. Use this template. I can edit this now. Open email editor. And you can change all of this. Obviously, this is just a template. You can change all this. Say, well, I don't want, this thing here and this or whatever. Now, it works similar to the main editor, but there's just certain differences. Like, well, what if I don't want this? How do I delete it? Usually, you have a trash can on the right-hand side, right?
Yeah.
You don't have that in the email editor. So go to the gear icon here. Click on delete row. And that's how you delete that.
Okay.
Likewise, if you want to clone, obviously you've got the clone button as usual. Okay, I'm going to delete that. And if I want to If I want to add a row, then I just click on add row. How many columns do I just do one? So we've got additional rows. Okay, so you've got images, so you can have images any way you like in an email, and it works in the regular way. You've got them here in the template, but of course, if you don't have, let's say if you have one, click on the plus button to find any of the elements, float over there till you see a plus button appear, hit plus, and you've got the options for that email. Again, similar to the editor, but not identical. So, well, I want to put the image, click on the image, and so box turned up. Click on here to change what image it is. So you've got the image URL here, select the image. The interface again is slightly different. Slightly different, so Cybex. And you can change the width of the image. Now, I have found that this is quite important. You do want to limit the image size. And I normally set one dimension, not two of them, just to do the width.
Okay.
But I have found that on some mobile devices, the mobile device kind of ignores this instruction. I think because anecdotally, I get emails back from people saying, look, this email you just sent me, the image has taken up my entire screen. So what I recommend, if you are going to add images to your emails, use Photoshop to manually size those images to, to a small pixel size.
Okay.
So that the client, the email client on the phone actually is, it knows exactly what size to put. But otherwise, you can still set it here. You can put some rounded edges on the image if you want as well, and you can center it, and you can put some alt text as well. If you really want to. You can also link it. You can actually send it somewhere, right? So you could send it to maybe your order page. So I want to send them back to the thank you page, or something like that.
Yeah.
Business build system, whatever it was, right? So we can put a URL here. And I can set the margin space at the top. 50. You can see it's in the background is moving around.
Yeah.
Right. 10. Done editing. And so actually the images up here that was doing. You can put buttons again, which you can put URL links on if you want to send them to the order page. Whatever. In the normal way. There are a few other things you can put. You can even put calendar dates, which is quite cool. So you're doing an event, you can put here. You can say
amazing.
December 25th. Right? So that's quite cool. Dividers and separators, so you can put a little divider in here, a little grey divider. Social media, so you can put your Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, stuff like that. You click on the gear icon to set the URLs for all of those things.
Wow.
And text headlines, of course, in the usual way. Rows. I think I've covered everything.
Yeah.
You can do a button, of course, and then you can edit the button. So, yes, I want this right now. And then take them to don't forget to set the destination. Yeah.
Cool.
And then you can set the button size, the size it would appear on a normal browser, and the size it would appear on a mobile phone. So I make sure you select something a lot smaller, like 12.
Yeah.
With a margin, and you can change the color. And the transparency as well.
Goodness me! I mean, it's very similar to the normal editing of the normal page.
Yeah, it's just exactly.
With slight variations, but it's very easy to understand.
Right, exactly. So I'll get rid of. All right, so you know what? Actually, I want this up here. I do want that separate row. I can just drag and drop it, just like normal. I'll delete that one. Sorry, Russell. And there we got our template, right? So
amazing.
Maybe it's got too many buttons on it, and we can delete some. We've got some sales text that we'll put here, and so forth. All right.
Wow, amazing.
Save. You can actually change the pre-header stuff. This is what kind of appears in the email client. You know when you got like the previews, you see like you've got 20 emails over hit your inbox, and it shows the head subject and then something below it.
Yeah.
If you don't define anything, then it will just take whatever it sees. But you can, if you want to manually override it, you can do that. So subject line, so we'll put the subject line, I think, and then you just say you. Yeah. Don't let me do anything. Oh, sorry. You won't believe this special offer. Right. So that would appear in an email client. Into settings, I can change the background color of the email. You know, if you want to. We'll make it opaque, otherwise it won't appear. And of course, you can also put a background image. I thought it would bring up some dialog box, but it isn't doing that right now for some reason. I don't know why. But you would just basically put, there would be a URL of the image there.
Yeah.
Close. So there we got it there. Now, obviously, when you've got logos which have got a white background, then you,
yeah.
That one isn't quite white. That's actually slightly grey, if I remember correctly. That's why I recommend either transparent or pure white backgrounds on logos. Oh, it's pretty close.
Yeah.
That's pretty close. It's sort of blended it. So so now it just looks like that's a logo sitting on top of there. Save, close, and you can also set rules. So you can say, well, only send this particular email. I can save this as a template if I want to. I can say add this, but only send it to people who have Facebook accounts.
Wow.
Facebook. I thought it's true. I'm not sure, but probably the way I do. I'm not sure how you do that, actually. But Facebook follows is greater than 0, right? And you can obviously you could save it as a template and then do another funnel step and say send it over to other types of people. You can also set different kinds of rules.
Yeah.
Send them to people who have visited one of my other funnels.
Yeah.
So funnel equal to Actionetics demo squeeze page or something like that, or it could be one of the other ones, right? So so only sends it to those people. So that sort of covers how you send out messages, right? So that's that funnel step. You've got other funnel steps that you can do. So you can send an email, but you can send out text messages to people, which I won't cover right now, and you can do actions. So you can say, so let's actually do that one in the other funnel, action funnel, which was the all buyers. Because if you remember, we said for all buyers, this is your all buyers list, right? We wanted to remove them from the nurture list, because now they're super important to us. So create the first step, or add new step here. remove from nurture list. Do action. Do this straight away. Number of days or hours. Add new funnel step. Checking action, Clickfunnels, Actionetics. Remove from list, nurture list, update funnel. That's my first step there, and then I can start adding emails.
Oh, brilliant!
Right. Again, if you got I'm all in, you've already got a Seinfeld sequence built out for you. So what you could do is just clone that action funnel. There is no by the action funnel. There is no way of cloning an action. There's no clone button for action funnels. Right.
Yeah.
So let's say, oh, you know, I really like the Seinfeld sequence, but I want to keep that as the master one because that's the one that Russell gave me, and I want to create a new one based on that. Right. So there's no duplicate button. So the way you do it, go to Seinfeld sequence. I'm going to tell you a little secret here as well. You see this button here?
Yeah.
That gives you the share. It gives you a share action funnel link, like when you're sharing Clickfunnels.
Yeah.
Right. Now the cool thing is, this also has your affiliate link embedded in it. So if you were to build out a really cool email sequence and you share it to somebody with a basic Clickfunnels account, and they try to import it to their Clickfunnels account, a warning will come up saying, "Oh, sorry about that. We can't import this because you've only got a basic Clickfunnels account. Would you like to upgrade it?"
Okay.
I think what then happens is it will then, thanks to you, it will then associate. I think it will. You'll then start getting the affiliate commission if they upgrade. I'm not 100% sure about that now. I'm thinking about it, but certainly for brand new accounts, you say, "Look, I've got this. You'll need an advanced account," and give them the action funnel sequence, share funnel. Then it will certainly affiliate them to you.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's
But yes, so if I want to build out the Steinfeld sequence for here or whatever, I can, if I want to use this one. Actually, we already did it, so we actually already associated it. I think we associated the cart abandonment sequence. Let's see. Let's see. Well, I want to duplicate this, so I'm going to cut and paste that share funnel link in there. We're now going to create a duplicate of it. Oh, it's called UU. Did I change the name of it by accident or something? Got a few steps to do. New funnel, and we will call that the you could use consumption series, but anyway, you could use this one. So now we've got this, we want to change the name of it so we know it's the demo, not the master. And put it on the buyer list. Actually, buyer list demo now has 2 lists associated with it.
Isn't it the nurture list that we want to?
Sorry. Just switch off my notifications for a minute. Action funnels. Full buyers demo. Seinfeld sequence demo. That's the one we just did, isn't it?
Yeah.
So in fact, we could use this one rather than this one. Right? So we could actually call this one the all buyers demo. For example,
Yes.
And that is everything. That's how you build out a whole funnel and all the Actionetics sequences. So all we actually have left to do is integrate your SMTP server, which we'll do next.
That's amazing.
Is that sort of simple? Did you get that?
That is amazing. That is amazing, buddy. That is absolutely amazing.
Cool.
That's absolutely amazing.
Great.
I mean, yeah. I mean, if you don't mind, if you send me a recording so I can go through it again, that'd be amazing, because it's pretty easy to follow, because it's not overly complicated. It's very much like, you know, a very simple process. You just need to get to terms with what the process has to do.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Great. All right, so I'm going to show you quickly now how to integrate your SendGrid account. You've already set this up, so I'm presupposing that you've actually already gone into SendGrid and you've got your account up and running and provisioned. And what I put on the side, hopefully you can see it unobstructed. You can see the general settings. These are my settings, and obviously I've taken my login details away. But I'm going to go to add SMTP configuration in your account. The way to get that, you go to account, go to SMTP settings. All right. Add SMTP configuration. And you can see this and this look more or less the same. So we're going to start putting some details in there. Obviously, I'm not going to be sharing the login and password details, so I want to show you everything else. We can call this whatever. This is Ombex, I guess, Anton. Ombex SMTP.
Or you can use Business Builder.
I'm not sure what the SMTP account is called in your SendGrid, but we can call it whatever, main SMTP account. It's just for reference. It doesn't.
Yeah.
Else. When emails go out, you're okay for it to say Anton Oliver?
Yeah.
So from Anton Oliver, what email address would you like is the SMTP set up?
Anton at Business Builder.
Builder-system, right?
Yeah.
That's the actual SendGrid account.
Yeah, that's the email used in SendGrid, yeah.
Okay. Then we've got the SMTP server, which you can see from over here. It is smtp.sendgrid.net. It's always the same. The SMTP port is 587. I'm going to put the username details in a moment without sharing. Obviously the private sendgrid.net. Okay, so it will show that it actually reveals the password here, so I'm not going to show that. Choose domain, so we have to set what domain is that associated with. The emails are going to be coming out. We're saying Business Builder System. So, and actually, Clickfunnels recommends that you set up a subdomain for this. And but at the moment we don't have one set up, so we're just going to have it set up for businessbuilder-system.com. So then you'll need to put your home address in here, and you'll need an SMTP footer. Now, I normally put something a little bit entertaining in the SMTP footer, which is a little bit of a mishmash between things I've seen from Michael Port and things I've seen from Mike Filsaime, which are a little bit, jovial. But you can be more professional if you want. But you can say you're receiving this email because you have previously opted in, requested info, attended a webinar, or otherwise asked to be kept informed of our products and services. So bought something from us, or attended a webinar, whatever. And then I think this is Michael Porter who does this. He says, trust me, I would never in a million years email you without your permission. However, if you'd like to unsubscribe, you can do this anytime by clicking here. All right. And what you have to do here, you put a hashtag unsub, underscore sub hashtag. And that will automatically include your unsubscribe link. And then click on default SMT integration. And we're basically done. I'm going to stop sharing my screen now while I put in the username and password and pause the recording.
Now, what I didn't mention right then was that it's absolutely critical that you put in all of your name and full address details. The reason being is that SendGrid will not deliver your emails if you don't put all of those details in. You have to put as much detail as possible, because otherwise, if you don't have all of those kind of unsubscribe details in there, you have to make sure you have the unsubscribe box fully filled out with the hashtag un-sub hashtag and the full address. Otherwise, the SMTP server will think you're a spammer and will not deliver your emails. So if you set all this up, you're wondering why your emails aren't going out to all of sort of your list of 5,000 people, check your SMTP settings, especially if you've set up your SMTP server some time ago, because these changes are actually quite new. So make sure that you go into your account, into your Clickfunnels account, go into SMTP server settings, and make sure you put all the details there.
So I've added all of the settings in there, and the next thing to do is click on, well, there was a button down at the bottom which I can't get to because it will show you the passwords, but it says create SMTP configuration. When you click on it, you can then now go up to here and click on verify email settings, and you'll get this thing that says email settings are good, you sent your test email. And so we're basically done in that regard. Right, so let's yeah, so actually that's all done. And you can have you can have up to 3 SMTP servers with a full Etison Suite account. You can only have one in the basic Clickfunnels account. So that is how you integrate the SendGrid. And what I will do is I will quickly show you in an action funnel. Now that we've got this set up, we've got an action funnel here called Nurture. And that it was set up before the SMTP server was there. And this hasn't got any funnel steps in it right now, but if I now create a funnel step, do email what? Okay, welcome, email. And I can set up my number of days or hours, and put in 0, add new funnel step. If I go to here, it says paused. You'll now see that this box has appeared that says paused or live, which I couldn't do before until SMTP server was set up. All right, so that's that's how to do it. Okay, Anton. So now we have actually, in the meantime, added your SMTP account in, and we need to make some of these sequences live. So it's fairly simple. So if we're going to Seinfeld sequence, because we've got 9 actions in there, click on Seinfeld sequence. Now what you need to know, there's something that people don't realize, is that if you've already got people on a list which is associated with an action funnel, anytime you add a new sequence and then make it go live, it will fire off that message to the people on the list. Providing, of course, the requisite number of days or hours have transpired since they joined the list. So if it's 0, then of course it will get sent out immediately. 0 days, 0 hours. But here we'll add to Facebook group. We can now make this go live. It says paused here. And if you remember, that box wasn't here before. It had a little piece of text that said, you need to add your SMTP server settings in order to send this out. So I'm going to click on live, update action settings. Also, we weren't able to change things like the email subject lines earlier. Going to settings, So what happened when I clicked on settings is none of this was here. Again, it just had that standard text saying you need to add your SMTP server. So we might just put Anton Oliver as that who this from, subject, this is typical. We won't change that. And the main SMTP server here, update. Like we're telling it which SMTP server to use, which SendGrid account to use. Update email. And so of course we need to now do that in all of them. I should be on live. I don't know whether maybe I forgot to press save. Live. Update action settings. Live. This is gone live. And then you go to each one, making sure it's live. That makes sense.
Amazing.
Any questions?
No, it's pretty clear.
Yeah. So one
Amazing.
thing. So obviously now we've got the SMTP server set up. I mean, this whole funnel, and I've made a little bit of an update on the schematic here. Just tidied it up a bit. So I've added in the cart abandonment sequence down here. We might, from time to time, want to do a broadcast, right? So we've got all of automatic emails and actions happening, but we might want to send out a one-off message. And I want to send an email to everybody today, right? So I can go to Actionetics, broadcasts, new email broadcast, and I could say, huge announcement. And now I can select which email list to send it to. So this is why I like having the master list, because I don't have to go through here adding each list independently, right? This what? Oh, sorry. Well, you wouldn't do that if you had the master list. You wouldn't do that as well. You'd have to go through and whatever and click on all of these lists, and it would send out a message to all of these people. Right? Obviously, got zero.
That's why it's basically very important to make sure that you do have a master list.
Yeah,
because it just makes your life much easier.
Yeah, master list. That's it. So you've done all that hard work. We've got Actionetics to do the hard work for you. It's got everybody on that list. We make sure that we've selected the right SMTP configuration, because I know you're going to be adding another SendGrid account. So make sure it's got the right one. Do you want to show when it appears in people's inboxes, do you want it to show that it's from Anton Oliver or Ombex or whatever the company is? Business Builder, Anton Oliver. You can send a test message to yourself if you want in a minute. Get your template. So this looks just like, when in Actionetics you're building a message. Go to Open Email Editor. Make the changes you need, customize that, do the pre-header, save it, and you're ready to go. Now you can now send it. This button here just says, do you want to send now or send it later? If you want to send it later, it will then come up with a date and time, 22nd of February, 5 o'clock. Which time zone? I can change the time zone. But you have to set you set the time zone for your entire account, not for that particular email. It's just telling you which time zone it is set to. And then you can queue it. So now it's saying queue the scheduled email because I've scheduled it. If I want it to send now, I can send now, and then it will send the email straight away. Or I can send a test to myself. I strongly recommend sending a test to yourself first, because you always forget something. You forget that you needed to update the URL on the button or the picture or something like that. And then you might, I forgot to remove the Clickfunnels back down at the bottom. So always send yourself a test first before sending it out to your main list. Now, I do need to tell you one thing. In action funnels, you cannot send yourself a test message. It's not possible to do that. So, it would be nice if you could, but you can't. There's probably some very good reason for it. So what do you do then? Well, because you need to set up all these emails. Well, what you can do is you can go to broadcasts, build the email in here. So imagine this is one actually that I'm going to use in an action funnel, not as a broadcast, right? So I can build it here, test it, make sure it all works, and when I'm happy with it, I can save it as a template. And I can say, cart abandonment email 1, for example. Enable it, create email design. Now, if I go into action funnels, I go to my, that's in the wrong place, we need to categorize that. This one here. Put this in the right group, which is our Actionetics training. Select the configuration, the main SMTP server. Update the action funnel. So it's here now. Cart abandonment sequence, let's go in there. And there's your first email, but which came with Clickfunnels if you went to imallin.com. But if I want to use that particular template, I can do add new step. Cart abandonment email 1, for example. Add new funnel step. And you should find this one down here actually. There's the template. Use this template, and that was the message that you can't tell the difference between the other ones, but this is the one. This is the template I used and that I created, and I know that it works. And then once you're happy with that, you'll go live, and that email is now ready to go. But anytime people get added to the list, they'll go, they say, oh, hang on a second, untitled email subject line, that doesn't look very good. Let's change that. Remember that we have to change all of these things. What the? Okay, that'll be attention grabbing. And there we go, that goes out. There is one other thing I want to tell you, just to finalize this training here, which you probably will want to do, maybe not for all of these lists, but maybe for at least your buyers, is you want to be informed when somebody's bought something, right? Wouldn't that be nice? So in product 1 thank you page, no, sorry, in the order form, I should say, in the order form page, if I go to products, if I go to automation, I can set up a notification. So I can click on add new action. So I've got my Slack channel bleeping in the background. I apologize for that. Not much I can do about it at this point. I don't think. I don't know. Might stop it. There we go. Notify Anton of purchase. Right? So anyone who's purchased, let me know. Email notification. So this is an action to do. Do all of these things. There's actually say email notification. So notify me. Who do I need to notify? Anton at businessbuilder-system.com. Right? So that's going to ping your message in your inbox every time somebody buys something. And you can also obviously also do it anytime somebody opts in. You can say, automation, add new action, notify me of new prospect. Everyone who hits the opt-in page and opts in, obviously. Email notification, Anton at business, can't spell, business builder -systems.com. There you go. Is there anything else that you would like me to cover in this basic Actionetics training?
But I think that is amazing. Thank you so much. That is so informative.
And obviously, you should test afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
And well, there's one thing I want to show you, which is, well, how do you see who's on the list, or how do you see what list a person is on? So the other way around, because obviously we know how to see who's on the list because we know the interaction is the email list. But how do we see what list people are on? So if you only just upgraded from a basic Clickfunnels account to an Actionetics account, you'll suddenly notice all of these extra features appearing. So contacts. So we haven't really, this is a pretty new account. So I can now, look, why don't I opt myself in? So I'm going to go here, and I'm going to enter my name. What's going on here? I'm completely honest. Autopilot. Get instant access. I'm going to opt myself in there. And go to the order page, go to products. Of course, we can purchase things. In fact, let's just test this all out and put. Actually, I'm just going to settings. I'm going to put Stripe into test mode, and we'll do some purchases. How about that? Let's make sure this all works. First of all, let's see, did it capture my details for opting in? Yes or no? Yes, it did. There I am. I've just appeared here. So I've appeared in contacts here, and I will also appear in contacts here in the master list for Actionetics. But this here is just for this funnel. And I can actually click on my record here. And what you'll see with Actionetics is very clever. It actually scans my email address or the prospect's email address and see what platform is that email address subscribed in. I don't know what I don't even know what that is actually. Some kind of account. Twitter, Facebook. I don't know what that is. Even I don't know what accounts I've subscribed to. Google Plus, LinkedIn, and these other things. It tells me I've got 858 followers, which is not actually accurate. I'm not sure where it's got that from. Maybe that's on LinkedIn. Maybe it's got that in from LinkedIn. I'm not sure. A number of purchases, number of memberships I've got, email lists that I'm on with you, obviously, and what's my address, because I may have inputted that somewhere before. You know, what other things, some other details you may have found out about me from somewhere. It's probably brought this in from LinkedIn, actually. And my rough location at the point of subscribing. I can edit the details in here. I can see what I've purchased. You know, I can see what this person has purchased. And if I've got a membership area, if I've maybe sold something to somebody over the phone, and I want to give them permission to access something or just add it into the system, I can add the purchase product access here manually. So I could say, right, well, I bought Actionetics demo product 1, right? What memberships, if I've got a membership site, this is what list am I on right now? Nurture list. Well, that's good because I did ask for to be added to the nurture list. The interesting thing is I'm not appearing in the master list, so we have to have a look at that. Why am I not added to the master email list? But not sure why, but I can manually add to the master email list by clicking on that master email list. Now, I wonder if there's a restriction. You can only add on one list at a time at the same point, so maybe that's something you have to add in the action funnel later on. So, and that added to that list as well. This is all the pages I've clicked on and any other custom data. And that's so that's basically that. So that's how you can see whether someone's on the list. Right, I want to go back to this order form here. Now, hopefully this is updated. Now we're in test mode. I can buy something. So I'm going to grab this credit card number up here. I'm going to use the same email address I used for any 3-digit CVC code and any date, time after today's month, the current month. Product number 1, we haven't set up an order bump, but we'll just buy product number 1, order and get access. And with a bit of luck, I've set it up correctly, and we go to the confirmation page. And you'll notice there's access purchase here, and that's where it sends us to the product 1 thank you page, which we haven't set up yet, but there it is, that's the template. Now, the interesting thing is we should, if we go back into here and refresh this record, hopefully Clickfunnels has added me to the buyers lists. Watching the blue bar going on the top here. It's totally updated. Let's go to marketing automation. I don't think it's totally updated yet. It might take a couple of minutes, or may need to actually get out of the record and go back into it. Let's find the one here. Purchases. Well, it certainly recognised my product purchase, product number 1. I want to make sure I've been added to the list, and it's for some reason it's not added me to the list. So we need to look into why that's happening, and if that looks like there's some kind of error, so we might need to even message ClickFunnels support. But in theory, it should have actually added me to the product number 1 buyer list. It could also be because the SMTP server, I don't know, because maybe the SMTP server wasn't set up earlier. I'm not sure why that isn't actually happening. But in theory, it should be adding me automatically to it. I'm going to check in here, maybe I messed something up. Order form. It could be that I've got too many automations and it's conflicting. I'm not really sure. But it should really add me to the master buyer list, and it should, in the products area, it should actually add me to the product 1 demo list. What I sometimes do here is just go from scratch and change it. Just to kickstart it, and then we'll try again. That's in theory how you do it. This is why you need to test and make sure it's actually doing what you've asked it to do. And if it isn't doing it, like you can see that it isn't right now, that's when we want to test a couple more times. And then if it doesn't work, then we want to be emailing ClickFunnels support to go and take a look at it. And the way I do that, the way I tell ClickFunnels support to make their lives easier, is I use a system called useloom.com, and it records my screen, and I talk through them. I say, right, here's the problem. I've got this funnel. I've set up the order form, and then I go and recording everything on my screen, show them it, and then do the test, actually show them it happening, and then say, look, I don't know why I haven't been added to these lists. So that's it. That's the end of the basic funnel training and basic Actionetics training.